Morning. Still top of the hill, different day. I'm thinking about holism and the, well, I guess I'm thinking about that mantra that you quite often find associated with New Age thinking, I suppose, which is everything is connected. Everything is connected. You sometimes find variations of it, you know, in terms of, you know, people saying things like we are all one, everything is one, the oneness. And it does, you know, you do find it in spiritual traditions as well. Mostly spiritual traditions. And you kind of find it in a different form, I think, as I said in the previous video, in references to the universe, you know, which are, you know, in completely secular circumstances, the universe, that the universe is one thing. But when I'm talking about it in terms of everything is connected, quite often, it seems to me, that's kind of extended into I hesitate to say religious, but I think it's actually accurate in this case, a kind of religious sense that the distinctions between things, the distinctions between this rock and the sky above it, the distinctions between myself and the environment in which I'm embedded, those distinctions are somehow illusory, and the real ground of being, the real sense, the real thing, is of an undivided oneness. And I think there's a lot of slippage here between the word divine and the word divide. The divine is almost like synonymous with the undivided in many cases, in this, I find. And non-duality is sometimes extended to mean, well, to have an overtone of that undividedness, you know, and almost a disparaging of the idea of division, that carving the universe up into discrete elements, rocks and the skies, human beings and the environment in which they're embedded, that wish to do that is almost perverse, perhaps reactionary, associated ultimately with a reductive science that is damaging in some way, that separates humankind from the environment in ways which are inevitably negative. You know, it has those kind of feelings to it. Whereas if you are, at least in ambition, seeking unity and trying to become part of the oneness and emphasising one's connectedness, you know, to the point of completely dismissing the idea of division, if you've got that, then you have a kind of holy and a holy and divine nature, which is somehow more in keeping with the workings of the universe at large. You know, you're more, you're more. It's almost a saintly. It's taken on as a virtue. Yeah. But I don't know about that. I mean, I'm of course we are connected. Of course that's there's no doubt about that. But we're not only connected, are we? You know, of course I am undoubtedly part of the physical systems in which I'm embedded, seamlessly. There isn't a sharp cut-off point in any of the stuff that my eyes are dividing up and that my senses are dividing up. There's no sharp cut-off point. But at the same time, it is possible to divide these things, and clearly we are. At least we are. Evolutionarily developed in order to be able to take advantage of that possibility. You know, we do carve the universe up, and I do see the horizon line and the point where the land ends and the side begins. I'm seeing these things. I'm feeling the rock under my hand, which means I'm feeling the boundary between hand and rock. So they are available to me, and to dismiss that availability, or to cast it down, you know, and say that's just part of the kind of fallen world, this artificially divided world, and that's just something that the reductive scientists do. And if we are interested in higher things, if we're interested in more spiritual things, if we're interested in being more connected, the unity, the singularity, the oneness, then we shouldn't take any notice of that. That just seems perverse in many ways, you know, because our capacity to see connection, our capacity to experience oneness, you know, those moments we sometimes have in, you know, peak experiences or moments of, you know, perhaps spiritual enlightenment or something like that. But those are moments that you might get when you're scuba diving or climbing a mountain as well, or whatever, in flow. Those moments when you do sense that connection. It isn't just a notional feeling of the non-duality, it's that you really sense it. I mean, those feelings are as produced as the feelings of reduction, aren't they? The feelings of distinction and discrimination. Being able to see connection is as much a construct as being able to see separation. So the idea that we would put one above the other and say, you know, well, this aspirational spirituality, the bigness, the wholeness, the oneness, that's the thing we should, you know, give a positive value to, and the breaking up, the separation, the reducing, the fragmenting, the taking apart, that's something we should give a negative value to. That, I say, that's arbitrary, isn't it? Neither one nor t'other is more natural, and even if it was natural, there's no reason why that should give it a positive value necessarily. You know, neither one nor t'other is more real, neither one nor t'other is more reflective of the real world, is it really? We construct the universe as a singular connected whole in exactly the same way that we construct the parts of the universe as divided, separate, reduced, fragmented. No, I would say. And I'm just going to show you the scenery here, because it's beautiful what I'm seeing. I'll just show you that over there is the water. That's the horizon line I was mentioning. That's St Ives over there, which is packed this time of year. So I'm not going to go to St Ives until the end of the tourist season. And then look at that little patchwork of fields. That's kind of what I mean, really. That's completely landscaped, because it had been all forests at one time. So the undivided wholeness of that environment, prior to the hedgerows being planted, was a completely constructed environment. But now it's been divided up by hedgerows, as you can see, and roads and lanes. Pretty gorgeous though, isn't it? I'm really lucky. Here, between a rock and a hard place. Big sky.